Hey, you found us. Good going. This is Joe Stowell. Welcome to Daily Strength, and today we want to talk about living life on level 1. Our text, Ruth 4:14, where we read, "Praise be to the Lord, who this day has not left you without a kinsman-redeemer." In an ancient form of Chinese drama, plays were often performed on a 2-level stage. On the first level, the drama would unfold in the natural sequence of the script, while on the second level, the last act of the play would be acted out simultaneously. Well, this gave the audience a distinct advantage. They knew how the story would end. In fact, it was not uncommon for the audience to yell to the actors on level 1, warning them that their attitudes or actions were threatening the good outcomes of the final act of the play. You know, life is a lot like living on level 1. When life on level 1 is in the dumper, if you know what I mean, it's easy to forget that the unseen hand of God is already at work to bring the last act to His glory and our good. It was like that for Ruth and Naomi. Their level 1 was really not a pretty picture. After the unexpected death of her husband and 2 sons, Naomi was left with her 2 daughters-in-law as a marginalized immigrant in Moab. In an age when men were the sole providers for their families, and sons were a badge of honor to a woman, this was no small problem. The level 1 cry of this destitute widow is understandable. She cries out, "The Lord has afflicted me. The Almighty has brought misfortune upon me." But what is important to know is that in the midst of Naomi's excruciating pain, God was already at work. Through Boaz's noble response to Naomi's destitute need for a kinsman-redeemer, God was in the process of designing a powerful picture of the rescuing work of Jesus to redeem our lives from hopelessness. It was also in God's providence to place a Moabite woman in the line of Christ to prove that all, regardless of race or background, could be included in His saving grace. This is really evident in Matthew chapter 1, verse 5, where the lineage of Jesus is traced. Well, so here's the dilemma. How do you get a Moabitess to Bethlehem, where she can marry into the line of Christ? Well, He had to send Naomi to Moab to bring one back. And without knowing it, God was positioning Naomi to be greatly used of God in the midst of her deep suffering. So here's the lesson. When level 1 is not a pretty picture, remember that God is the manager of all that plays out in our lives. We are not left to the winds of fate. I love the fact that He never wastes our sorrows, and that His hidden hand is working to turn our sorrows into significance. That's why Paul assures us in Romans 8:28 that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. So chin up. The God who works on level 2 guarantees a good and glorious ending all the time.